Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bareham Engines. Been a few days, innit? I was meant to be doing one Saturday, but I'm going to be completely honest with you, I couldn't be bothered. I had the kids Saturday and I went over to Croyd. If any of you have been down to the southwest, near the Barnstable area, North Devon, you'll know that Croyd is a big holiday sort of town really, very surfy. Took the kids down there, went to a few parks, a little bit of pub lunch, blooming lovely. But basically guys, today, I'm going to be taking you, I'm going to be sticking the glasses on, the Meta glasses here, sticking them on and taking you for a little blast in the Escort because I've had one little drash in the Escort on Friday, I think it was, when Isaac and I went out with the old laptop. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But before I do that, I'm just going to run you through what's going on in the workshop. First of all, we have a Focus ST. This is a 5-cylinder with the Volvo lump-in look, and you can see we've got a bit of partial cam there, and the cam's out of the head and the cam carrier off. I'll explain exactly what we're doing there. So this is basically a bit low compression on 3 of the cylinders, and we are sort of investigating as to what has happened here and what's going on. Turns out that a few of the clearances are tight, not fully closed up, but tight. Now, we've done a compression test, obviously that's the first thing we did, and it turns out that 2 and 3, cylinders 2 and 3, because this is obviously a 5-cylinder, 2 and 3 were right up where they should be, but 1, 4 and 5 were down at about 60 PSI, so I thought that's a little bit weird. And then I thought, well, this is really coincidental, but it's very much the same as what the Escort was like with tight clearances. So, first thing we did was check out the timing, the cam timing, by removing the seals in the back of the head here, and you can see the slots, which are obviously go parallel to the head face, the back of the head face, and put the tool in there. You've got a tool that goes down in the bottom pulley, and that's basically it really. You just check that the cams are sort of lined up at the back, which they were. So the next step, fortunately with all this scuttle panel out, it's quite easy to work on. Next step was to whip that cover off and check all the valve clearances, because they're not hydraulic lifters, they're solid lifters with, let me just show you this here, if we get the magnet. Take one of these out, look, and you can see on the bottom there's a pip. Now, fortunately, they do different sizes of these, and that, obviously, there's a number on the inside, but that obviously will determine whether it sits lower and gives you more clearance, or higher up towards the cam, gives you less clearance, depending on what your clearances are. Well, turns out, guys, that we've got 4 or 5 that have gone right down to sort of about 3 thou, which, the same as the Escort, when they've gone down, because of, I suppose, because of the dwell on the camshaft, it just doesn't, if there's too little a clearance, it doesn't give enough time for the cylinder to build, pressure to build up and give you the correct pressure that it needs. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to work out what the clearance is, jot it all down on paper, and then order the correct buckets. Now, you're probably wondering what this little bit of a camshaft is. What this is an old camshaft. The problem you've got on these heads, there's no cam caps. It's a complete carrier, which is in the wash, all covered, so you can't get anything in there to check the valve clearance when the cams are all bolted down with this cover. So to remove the cover, obviously a lot of engines have cam caps which still hold the camshafts in place, gives you enough room to get down the back with the feeler gauge. These don't have that. There's not really a method of holding them down. So what I've done is, this is one we've done quite a while ago. We've took an old used cam that's in good order, and we've machined off just 2 of the lobes and 2 of the cam journal. So it sort of sits in there like that, look. And what that means is you haven't got the whole of the cam where obviously 2 or 4 lobes are always pointing down and have to open the valves. So what we can do is we can just take that out, put it in each one, wherever we want, hold it down and check the valve clearance successfully. So that is a successful little bit of camshaft that does exactly the job we want it to do. So that's our job for tomorrow, or my job, whereas Isaac's job is to strip down this engine here. And look at that, that is an absolute beauty, isn't it? It's a Mercedes 250. I do believe this is a CE, 1971. One of those that they sort of, the body sort of is a bit of a square type like that. Looks like the ones that they usually put trick blingy wheels on and sit on the deck on airbag suspension. But yeah, lovely, lovely motor. And look at that for an alloy rocker cover. That is beautiful. And it reminds me of those, some of the engines back in the 1920s. Looks really, really nice. And apparently, I'm not sure whether it's just the 250 CE. It's obviously a 2.5. Later on, they went to like a 2.8. But they only made this or put these in that car for 2 or 3 years with the single cam. And if you notice, that looks just like, apart from it being 6-cylinder, just like a Pinto setup, a Ford Pinto, where you've got the overhead cam runs in the cam bearings. You've got this spray bar here, which is probably not the greatest thing, bit of a Heath Robinson, but it does the job. And then you've got the rockers. So it's like a big version and also a 6-cylinder version of the Pinto, really. And then later on, 2 or 3 years after this, they went to the twin cam overhead cam 2.8 version, which I do believe a year or two back we had one over there, didn't we, that we built. But yeah, lovely looking motor. We're going to strip that tomorrow. So in the next video, you'll see exactly what's going on inside. But that is just in for general wear and tear, a few oil leaks, and make it look pretty. So there we go. Let's head out into the Escort, guys, and have a little drive. Well, here we are, guys. Let's get in the old Mark 1 Escort, shall we? So, first of all, me and Isaac went out on Friday to do a little bit of mapping. And when I say mapping, I don't mean like proper sort of live mapping. I mean that I spoke to David at Emerald, and he said to me, because obviously we had the issue with the valve clearances and that, and we've sorted that now, got the car running okay. He said, you do know in the software there is a self-learning part of it. You can set in your target AFRs. So we've got the gauge down here, and it will put in those target AFRs into the fuel map, not the ignition map, because obviously we need a rolling road to sort that out, but they are there or thereabouts for a minute. Go out, do a drive. It will then show up the changes that it's made in the sort of self-learning area, that you then put those into the map and see how it goes. We did that, and it does seem to run pretty blooming well, really, considering that it's just a sort of base map. Obviously, we're only going up to sort of 3.5 grand on the fuel map. We haven't gone anything beyond that, but we are running it in. So, how am I finding the car, guys? Well, first of all, if we turn it on, the one first thing that I do notice compared to the carburetors is obviously this is cold. I haven't started this thing all day. So if we put the ignitions on there and press start with no throttle lock, the car starts up, runs absolutely lovely. Bearing in mind we've got a huge sort of racy cam in there. There's no way on this planet this car would run like that on carburetors. Certainly no throttle or anything like that. And we haven't done the cold start map. So we'll go for a little drive. Now, first thing I noticed with this car, guys, after not driving it for, you see it's a little bit rich there, but that's because obviously until it gets up to temperature, it doesn't know what's going on. So, but still, look, it just idles lovely. My clocks ain't working at the minute. The only thing that's working is the oil pressure, and that looks good, so we'll leave it at that. But my rev counter stopped working. I've got to sort that out. Yeah, the first thing I noticed about this car, engine and loom and everything and ECU aside, is that it's going to take a bit of climatising too. I haven't driven this car for probably like 6 or 7 months, really. It has gone actually that fast, and I've noticed straight away that it's a little bit rough and ready, isn't it, this thing? Mark 1 Escort, no power steering. You can hear absolutely everything, every stone on the road. When I took this off the road, or just before, I was using it as a bit of a daily. I suppose you do get used to it, but it certainly didn't feel this rough, I don't think, but then maybe it did. But I am sort of getting used to it, and I'm sure I'll get used to it again, but it's absolutely fantastic. You've just got to bear in mind the camshaft this has got in it and what it would run like on carburetors around the town, but at the minute, even though we're still on a bit of a base mat, it runs absolutely lovely. The engine definitely sounds a bit different, so I would say the first thing you can notice is the sucking through the trumpets, because there's so much dwell on the cam. Round about idle and low revs, off throttle, you're getting that sort of, I suppose, that overlap with the valves or with the camshaft, and you can sort of hear some hissing through the trumpets. Can you hear that? That is literally probably about 15-20% throttle, and it sounds proper angry, this thing. I'd imagine when this is mapped, it's gonna go like stink, really. Well, that's what we're hoping. Yeah, I'm trying not to sit around in traffic too much, but it's hard when there's loads of traffic about, I suppose. But yeah, like I say, the first thing I notice with this thing is how well it idles. It's like a modern car, basically, but with those old school raspy noises. And it's just a case of getting climatised back to a 1970s vehicle again, really. But I'm really, really excited about it. It's really good to have it back on the road. A few more things to do, a few bits to get working again. Then it's down to Stephen at Tipton, get it mapped. And yeah, the Wasp is back on the road, guys. Absolutely love it. So, we will see you in the next video. Let me know down in the comments what you think of it. And if you're happy to see the Wasp back on the road, guys. Have a great evening. Cheers.